Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, PattSun, and today we're gonna be taking a look at r/AmItheA, where OP did the absolute Giga Chad thing to do. Let's begin. Am I the asshole for choosing my dog over my family by refusing to accommodate my girlfriend's brother? Posted by Reddit user DoggoLover1203.
I, 23 male, had lived with my girlfriend and 22 and my dog Bo. Recently, Anne's brother Al got laid off from work and couldn't afford to pay rent anymore. Anne asked if Al could stay with us and I didn't see why not. Anne isn't on speaking terms with her parents and I assumed Al probably also wasn't and didn't have another place to go. Plus, I really loved Anne and I wanted to show her how important she was to me. Here is the issue. Anne told me Al had a mild dog allergy. When I initially spoke with both of them, I said I would do my best to accommodate but would not, under any circumstances, get rid of Bo. Both understood and Al said his allergy wasn't too bad. Al moved in and to be honest, he wasn't a great roommate. He didn't seem to be in a hurry to move out, as he spent most of his time sleeping and playing video games instead of looking for work. He didn't pitch in for chores and let laundry pile up in his room, then acted confused when I told him he had to do his own laundry. He ate the food we cooked but did not help with cooking or buying groceries. Worst, he ordered lots of fast food for himself and left wrappers, bags, and old food in his room, which made the whole apartment smell. After a month or so, Al said his allergies were getting worse and asked me to consider putting Bo in a shelter. I said absolutely not, but Anne said we should consider getting rid of Bo to accommodate her brother's needs. I said no and we would not be discussing this further. She called me the asshole for choosing my dog over my family. That's when I snapped. I said Al is not family and he has been nothing but a hassle for the past month, and that if she wants to babysit her older brother, she can find her own place. She has no legal right to stay here because my name is on the lease and I pay rent. Anne is in grad school and does not make enough money to afford a decent apartment on her own. She tried again to convince me that I should prioritize Al over Bo, so I gave her an ultimatum. Either Al is gone in 24 hours or I kick both of them out. Bo stays no matter what. Both have since moved out, and while Anne and I are not officially broken up, I haven't heard from her in a few days. I know this may sound harsh, but Bo is my family. He has been with me through some of my hardest times and he is a rescue, which means he was already abandoned once, and I will not let that happen again. I feel nothing for Al, and while I thought I loved Anne, her willingness to get rid of someone I love as much as her made my feelings change. When I explained this to my parents and sister, however, they said I should have at least considered getting rid of Bo to accommodate Al, and that they could even take care of Bo themselves so he didn't have to go to a shelter. They said if I saw Anna's family, which I did at one point, I should be able to make sacrifices. But that was a sacrifice I wasn't willing to make. Does that make me the asshole?
Absolutely not the asshole here, OP. Everything you said was very accurate. Honestly, you two aren't together anymore. Kicking her out was you, breaking up with her, and good on you for doing that, OP. She's clearly a heartless bitch to even consider putting your dog in a shelter for a useless roommate who could have taken an allergy pill. Or, hear me out, got himself a job so he could have moved out. Look, OP, just to be safe, because over the years, Reddit has taught me to always change your locks and put up cameras in your home. Hug your dog tight tonight and be proud that you protected your best friend. Good luck, OP. And now, for today's second story. I caught my girlfriend cheating with the man she told me not to worry about. And of course, it has to be that guy. This one is posted by Reddit user AssistanceCareless19.
I've been in love with my girlfriend for almost a year now. She's the most amazing and pretty girl I will ever meet. And I cannot get over the fact that I am in a relationship with this woman. Everything was fine over the year. Plenty of sex and gifts and love between the two of us. One day I thought I'd drive up to her house and surprise her with some chocolates and flowers, as she's told me she has been having it rough lately. When I arrived to her house, she lives with her parents. I noticed a new car in the driveway but shrugged it off as maybe a new family car or something. I walked up to the front door holding my flowers and chocolates, and walked straight in cause the front door was unlocked and no one answered when I knocked. I was heading into her room to confront her then. I proceeded to hear plenty of moaning and rough movement coming from her bedroom, and my heart instantly dropped and I was hoping to God it wasn't what I thought. But sadly it was true. I turned the corner to see a man basically balls deep in the girl I loved the most. I've never felt more destroyed in my life. I dropped the chocolates and flowers in fright and they heard it and looked at me. She tried to apologize to me but words couldn't fix what I just saw. I felt no emotion, no feelings, just nothing. I walked back to my car while she vigorously tried to apologize, but I continued to hop into my car and drive off without saying a single word for the whole day. Then I remember I had been told to have her phone bugged by a cyber specialist on Reddit, which I refused. I kinda wish I had done that. At least I would have seen all this coming. I never did anything wrong to her. I loved her so much. I showered her with gifts and took on adventures she will never forget. She had it all with me. But sadly, she crushed it in a heartbeat when I caught her with that man.
OP, the only thing you can do right now is to ghost her, block her, and delete every trace of her from your life. Post on social media exactly what she did. I know it sucks walking in on your girlfriend fucking another guy, but OP, you need to move on. You need to go out there and live your best life. Look, man, it sounds like she just used you as an ATM. You were not her boyfriend, no, my dude. You were just her simp, and she used you for what you were worth. The only reason she acted sorry is because she knew that she is now losing her cash cow. Learn from this experience and do better to catch the red flags next time. Alright? Alright. And now for today's final story. Am I the asshole for responding to my father's request for a relationship with a detailed PowerPoint on why he will never be forgiven? Posted by Reddit user Throwaway 1028585.
If I'm the asshole here, I'll own it. I'm not sorry, but it would be good to know because the rest of my family thinks this went too far. My mom died when I was 7 from leukemia. I have very few memories of her from before she was sick, and I didn't get to spend a lot of time with her in her last year, but she was an artist, and until she couldn't anymore. She would make me little collages when she was in the hospital with drawings and photos and messages for me. My grandmother put them all in a book for me after she died. I wanted to be like my mom, and my counselor thought it would help. So I started a journal where I would do kind of a similar thing, and I've done at least 1 page a week all these years ever since my mom died, more when I miss her or have something hard going on. So, I have kind of a unique record of my mental state over the last 16 years. My father remarried when I was 9. My stepmother really leaned hard into the "I'm your mom now," and my father didn't stop her. It improved when they had my half-brother because she basically forgot about me then. Unfortunately, he got cancer when he was 3. And I pretty much ceased to exist for my father. He was either working or gone with my brother, and I spent all my teen years mostly at home alone or with my grandparents. The mantra was that my brother needed to be the focus because he might die, so I needed to not be selfish since I was healthy. I stopped trying to talk to him when I was 16, and it was a dark time. I moved out when I was 18 and cut them off completely. My grandparents let me know that my brother died a couple of years ago, but respected my desire to remain no contact with my father. He recently reached out to them because he wants to see me and talk. I went through my old journals and made him a PowerPoint with images of the entries where I had talked about being frustrated and feeling abandoned and unwanted, some with literal quotes of things my dad had said to me during arguments. Even the really dark stuff from when I was seriously depressed. Then I ended it with a photo of one of my mom's collages where she had written, "Remember that your dad and I are always here for you," and I wrote, "You failed. Go away" underneath. I felt like him being able to see it from my literal perspective would communicate why I don't want him back better than I could. Evidently it worked, but a little too well because I've been bombarded by family telling me that it's understandable that I don't want to see him. But what I sent gutted him, and he's completely fallen apart after reading through it, and it was unnecessarily cruel. Maybe it was. I know my bar for that is kind of weird sometimes, so am I the asshole? Edit. A couple of follow-up notes. Since it came up the comments. I loved my brother. I don't resent him. He was a good kid, and I wish he was still with us. None of this is his fault. To me, it is completely my father's, and to a lesser extent stepmother's. The parents prevented me from spending time with him as he got sicker, so I wouldn't have been allowed to be there for him even if I had been able to, which I wasn't towards the end because I was also struggling to stay alive. I have empathy. I understand what my father lost. I was there. I also lost those same people plus effectively my father. Even so, to me there is no excuse for completely shutting your own kid completely out of your life while also preventing them from getting any kind of help. I understand depression and freezing up. I've been there, and I still, even not being an adult, managed to consider the impact of my behavior on other people. If he was that bad off, he should have given me up to be raised by someone else. My mom's parents asked, and he wouldn't agree to let me stay with them full time. I could have had a dad that was able to occasionally tell me he loved me even if it was just a text message. Alternatively, I could have lived with my grandparents and had people around me who cared about me every day even if that wasn't my father. I got neither, and every request for help of any kind was met with "suck it up." I can empathize with having to function while breaking down inside, but I can't empathize with what he did. I gather from relatives who have backed off after some hard boundary setting that my father and stepmother split not long ago and are in divorce proceedings, which is why he reached out now and why the rest of the family was upset with how I responded at the time. He wasn't in a good place already. I've told them that if they care about him to encourage him to keep away from me, refuse to pass on any messages, and try to get him into inpatient care or something if they're that worried he's going to do something rash. I don't want anything to do with him, and I've told them that I don't want to hear about anything that happens after this point. But the rest of his family love him, so for their sake I hope he pulls himself together. Now for the update. A bunch of people have been asking for an update, so I'm doing it here instead of on the main sub because the original blew up more than I want to deal with again. I had a talk with my paternal grandparents over Christmas vacation and showed them the PowerPoint. They had no idea that things were as bad as they were, that I was actively suicidal at the time, and the accidents I had as a teen were not really accidents. So, while they think it was still dangerously harsh under the circumstances, they understand better where I'm coming from. Admit that my father messed up big time, and that the family should have been more involved with me instead of just supporting him and my brother. They said that on the surface they thought I was fine and just having trouble adjusting, but if they had known about the things described in the journal, they would have insisted my father get help. They do want me to reconcile with him, but they understand why it might be too late for that, so they've agreed not to bring him up unless I do first and not pass on information either way. So, that was actually productive. As for my father, I know a lot of people think I'll regret it if I don't reconcile or forgive or whatever, but I'm not so sure that's true. I've tried to imagine a conversation with him that wouldn't make things worse, and I can't. Best case scenario, he's sorry and has a good grovel, but honestly I think hearing that would just make me hate him more. Worst case scenario, nothing has really changed and I have to walk away before I end up with an assault charge. I also just can't imagine any real benefit or function to having him in my life, so reconnecting seems like a lot of work for no gain. As far as forgiveness, I don't know if that's actually possible. Apathy, maybe. As far as I know, he's alive. I've made it super clear that anyone who tries to give me information about him that I don't request will also get the chop, so I'm probably not going to get any further updates. I'd rather just go back to forgetting he exists. For me, I'm probably as fine as I'm going to be. I have therapy and meds. I can pass for a functional human most of the time. My deal with myself is that I have to at least stick around until my maternal grandparents pass so they don't hurt, and I can wrap things up for them. So in the meantime I'm working on finding other raison d'etre. Spite, possibly.
You're not the asshole here, OP. And throughout the years that I've been alive, I've been living under a certain quote. If your actions paint you in a bad light, then the problem is you, not the situation. Look, OP, if the truth hurts your father, it's his own fault and his responsibility alone to make it right. Because of his past actions, he will now need to respect your wishes, even if that means that he will lose his daughter. That's called taking responsibility. It hurts, of course it does, but it was the path that he chose to walk. I'm sorry about your situation, OP. I know you will get through this. Good luck. Viewer support is the best way for me to remain independent and continue bringing you these daily videos, which will always be here on my YouTube channel for you to watch absolutely free. So consider clicking that super thanks just below the video title, or you can use my PayPal in the description box down below. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you even somewhat enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you really like it, make sure to subscribe to PattSun to never miss a future upload. Stay strong.